Hey Gadget Groupies, another quick case review, the last of our trio of Urban Armor Gear cases. We reviewed one for the LG V10 and for the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, and now we're looking at one for you iPhone fans out there for the iPhone 6 and 6S. This is the rugged bumper case. It's going to add mil-spec 810G drop and shock resistance to your lifestyle fashion phone. And popping this out of its crinkly plasticky case, we've got a really pretty red iPhone case here. So folks, if I'm being honest, I don't know that I'm cool enough to pull off a pink phone, but I'm definitely cool enough to pull off a candy apple fire engine red Urban Armor Gear ruggedized super cool bumper shock resistant case. Now in reviewing these cases, I've really been digging on these design elements. Again, I like a ruggedized look. I like these hard edged corners. They look like something that was pulled from a rugged phone like the Galaxy S6 Active. And these fake little torque screws actually do serve something of a practical purpose. We have feet at the corners of the phone to give yourself a little additional clearance. One, that's also good for the case, so that if your phone is on, like, say, a rough outdoor concrete tabletop, for example, these feet will take the brunt of the damage if this thing gets scraped a little. Hopefully protect some of the nice glossy look on the plastic itself, but these little torque screws here are independent. They're separate from the rest of the case, and they have these little pads that work so that if the case takes a bad drop, a drop that would actually sort of, ripple or bend through the case, hopefully these individual pads will absorb more of the shock before liquefying the internal guts of your phone. And as the iPhone's a little bit smaller than some of the other cases we've reviewed, the case does feel a little bit more rigid. There's less material just to sort of bend from the corners, which are reinforced. And the corners do feel like they stick out a little bit further in reinforcing that additional plastic to help protect the phone from a bad drop. Installing the case is simple as pie. Although pie isn't really very simple. Making a good pie is trickier than most people, I think, would admit. You just snap it all on there, and we have a nice fire engine red protected iPhone 6S. She's a pretty case, she is. Now, we've got a nice tall clearance around the screen to protect from a face drop or from just getting kind of scraped around on the ground. I've got a screen protector on here. This is the one that adds those little extra buttons that communicate with the top of the screen, and it seems to do a pretty good job of clearing for that. I'm not sure how well this case will do with a full wraparound glass screen protector if it actually fits the actual full face of the iPhone. It looks like this snaps on with just enough give that you should be able to get a tempered glass screen protector, edge-to-edge screen protector on there without too many issues. Urban Armor Gear cases add a little extra thickness, but that comes with the benefit of giving us more plastic to work with in cutting out ports for things like the camera. Now, Apple puts a sapphire lens cover on the iPhone camera, but why worry about any potential damage when we can just give it a little extra clearance to make sure a drop or a scrape is going to hit the case more than it will the actual phone. And what I love about Urban Armor Gear cases is how they treat the buttons on your phone. So not only do we have a really nicely contoured and shaped volume rocker, which communicates the clickiness of the actual iPhone keys beautifully, but it's tapered and cut so that your fingers can naturally find this very quickly and feel exactly where you are, where this little cut here and this little scoop there translates into the volume up and down keys beautifully. One of my biggest problems with bumper cases is it usually turns your buttons into mush. You kind of just have to remember or memorize where they are on your phone, and often you'll still kind of have to feel around for them. You do not have that issue on an Urban Armor case. And the cutout for our mute switch is wide enough even for my fat, stumpy thumbs to get in there and hit the mute rocker without any issues. I really don't like when companies try and add a lever, a covered lever that's supposed to interact with that switch. I don't think it ever works. So I'm always happy to see a wide cutout so that you can just get to the actual switch on the phone. And we see the same care and attention to detail on the power button too. This has a nice textured groove to it, whereas the rest of the phone has sort of a slick and bubbled side. It's very clear and it's very easy to reach directly for the power button. You know exactly where your fingers are gonna go. And on the bottom of the phone, we see nice clear cutouts for the speaker grill, for the iPhone lightning connector. I haven't had any issues with the lightning connector popping right in there. And then a clear wide cutout for the headphone jack, where even right angled connectors seem to do just fine. Although on this case, I did have issues with an auxiliary cable, one of those cables that I use to connect to my car stereo. That cable had a little extra plastic shield holding on it, and it did seem to interfere with the iPhone case a little bit more than with some of the other cases we've reviewed on the V10 and on the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. It wasn't a tremendous issue, you just kind of had to pop it in with a little bit more force, but the plastic on this phone case does feel just a little bit tighter, a little bit snugger than, obviously you've got a lot more room on phablet phone cases like the LG V10. The only thing I don't quite understand about this case, and maybe someone will educate me, school me in the comments, are why we have these cutouts here on the back. We can see like a weird cutout around the word iPhone, but it doesn't really line up with the word iPhone. And then just sort of the reflective material of the Apple can kind of come through on this, but it's not a cutout for the Apple. And I'm not really quite sure why we have these open holes on the back of the iPhone case, which we don't have on the V10 or on the Galaxy case. Regardless, I really like this design for the iPhone 6. Now, aluminum phones, glass phones, I think they're really slippery in my hands. I'll always take a leather back or a textured plastic back over, this type of glossy surface. Now, Urban Armor, they like to make their cases really shiny, but they give us all of these divots and cutouts, so your fingers have a little bit more to grip onto when you're holding the phone. I think it's easier to hold on to this case than it is a naked iPhone 6s, so we'll call that an improvement. And all of this extra plastic and cutouts and reinforced corners, it's designed to give the case, designed to give your phone more likelihood of surviving a drop or bump or bruise. They say it's going to add mil-spec 810G drop and shock protection to your phone. You guys should know by now, I do not test those claims. I am not into gadget destruction porn, so I'm not gonna sit here and drop the phone a bunch of times to see if their claims live up to their marketing. But from everything that I've seen, especially having used the LG V10 case, the LG V10 version of this case, and the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus version of this case, I would say that, worst case scenario, this looks really cool and adds a little extra damage protection to your phone. And even that's enough to kind of warrant the additional cost in buying a bumper case for a phone like the iPhone 6s. Full retail for this is going to run around $39.95, but of course I've been shopping these things through various retailers online. You can often find them for that $25 to $29 price point. When we're talking about protecting a flagship phone, I think this is a nice case to add to your arsenal. Whether or not you want to keep a chunkier case on your phone full time, that's definitely going to be a personal preference situation, but I always like having a good rugged bumper case in my lineup for those times I know I'm going to jet out the house, maybe go take a hike up in the hills here in the valley, and I want to have just a little extra peace of mind. I think Urban Armor Gear is creating some fantastic solutions for providing you that little bit of extra peace of mind. Of course, I'll leave some links down below this video where you can find more info on Urban Armor cases. Shop these puppies online. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more reviews like these, and I would not be able to continue producing on this channel if you all weren't out there supporting it either by shopping using all of the affiliate links below every video or by buying my book. Take Better Photos, Smartphone Photography for Noobs is now available on Amazon to take your smartphone photo game up a notch. And of course, sharing my videos on your favorite social sites is always greatly appreciated, from the Facebooks to the Twitters, the Reddits, and the Googles Pluses. I can't thank you enough for bringing more cool people to the party. So hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you all on the next review.